Good morning. Welcome in to the OnlyBets Sports Podcast, Tuesday, August 25th. Alongside Certain Bets, Drew Lukey. I'm the Prince of Picks. Have a great show lined up for you guys today. Coming off of a 2-0 day for myself yesterday. Swept the picks over in the soccer world. We had Chelsea on the money line that cashed over Fulham. And we also had Chelsea Fulham, that match to go over 2.5 goals. That cashed relatively easy, sweat free in the very first half. So nice 2-0 day for myself. We'll see if we can keep the momentum going here this week. Let me go on and bring in Mr. Stern Bets. Mr. Mosh, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How'd you do yesterday, bro? And how you doing?
Happy Tuesday indeed. I think we swept the board. Cubs team total over 4.5 cash is no problem, and I'm pretty sure Ranger Suarez went under 17.5 outs for Drew, which makes a perfect 4-0 day yesterday. Very happy, excited to get into it. Pete Crow, Armstrong, and the Cubs are continuing to dominate. If you're not taking their team total today, I don't know what you're doing. It's not my official play, but it is on my premium channel because by golly, I don't know if anyone's going to be able to stop them. Any recap that you want to get on from yesterday? We finished up the Premier League week 1, I believe. We cashed very nicely, like you just said. Any kind of thoughts going forward for Fulham?
Yeah, well, just in general, in terms of the EPL, I mean, we had an excellent week 1 in terms of our EPL picks over on the VIP channel. I think we ended up going 6-2, I believe, or 7-2. One of those, I'd have to double check. But near, over a 70% clip for the first week of EPL. So excellent first week for us in the Premier League, and we'll see if we can carry that momentum into the second week. And in terms of Fulham, look, we talked about it on one of our previous episodes that Fulham is projected to be one of the more open teams in the EPL. And what I mean by that is their style of play is going to be conducive to a lot of goals scored and a lot of goals conceded. And I think they were right on brand. Very first game of the EPL, you saw it was a back and forth end to end game, which is something you typically don't see in the very first game of a season. So if that's a sign of things to come here for Fulham, I would say Fulham might be one of those teams that you auto bet over 2.5 goals every single game. Is what I'll be doing until I see something that proves otherwise. So I think Fulham could be one of the most entertaining teams to watch this season. And of course, Chelsea, a dark horse here to win it all. Did what they had to do, got the win there, but it was close. I mean, it could have gone either way. Either team could have scored another couple goals, really. So, really fun game, entertaining game, and I'm very interested to see Fulham games going forward.
Yeah, very much on the same boat. The open style of play, like you you pointed out straight out. Sorry, words are hard today. That was excellent analysis and definitely going to be covering on the over and the both teams to score for the foreseeable future. Very much on board. Why don't we get started in soccer today? Tell us what's going on the slate. What are we looking at? Any live plays? Break it down for us, man.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll go ahead and get to the official plays first, and then I'll give you guys any live looks that I'm looking at here throughout the day. But officially here, we're going to start off in La Liga over in Spain. We do have a matchup today between Valencia taking on Real Betis. I like goals in this one. I like both teams to score. You're going to get that minus 130. Looking at their head-to-head, this says hit in 5 of their last 6 when they meet up against each other. 5 straight, 6 in the last 7. So nice percentage there. Something that we're looking for when we're looking at the history here. And Real Betis, if you take away their friendlies and you just look at their La Liga matches, this has hit in 8 straight for Real Betis. So Real Betis is a team, another one of these teams that typically play a more open style of soccer. You typically see goals on both ends when they play. And so this is more backing their form rather than Valencia. Valencia is a little bit more inconsistent. They've hit 6 out of 10 in their last 10 matches in terms of BTTS. So 60% clip there. We'd like to see a little bit better of a sample size, to be honest, but that's enough for me, especially considering the form that Real Betis is in. So I'll take a shot here at Valencia, Real Betis. Both teams to score, and you're going to get that at minus 130. Any thoughts for you on that one, Mosh?
Give me a second while I pull up my model over here. Off the top of my head, it seems like it's a really good play. Should be competitive. Let's see if
So
we
what
have
I'll
something.
what I'll do, just to give you a moment, I'll go ahead and get through my other play, and then you can recap both of them here if that's easier for you. So we have another play tonight. We're looking at the Leagues Cup, which of course is the MLS versus Liga MX. We have the quarterfinals kicking off tonight. One game I'm looking at in particular is going to be the one between Chicago Fire. Is going to be hosting Monterrey. Looking at the Fire, this team is in excellent form right now, undefeated in 7 straight, 10 of their last 11. But when you're looking at the defensive side of things, they've conceded in 10 of their last 12 matches. So although they are picking up points, they're conceding goals just as regularly. So for that reason here, I think both teams definitely get on the board in this one. And with that being said, with both teams score, I also like the over 2.5 to hit. I don't think either team is going to want to go into a penalty shootout here. So give me both teams to score and over 2.5 goals here between Chicago Fire and Monterrey. And that one comes in as well at minus 130. All right, Moshe, I'll get both of your thoughts on those two games if you have any.
The second game, not so much. I don't really have projections for some of those other tournaments. I usually just have them on the main leagues kind of around soccer. For the Real Betis, you know my model. It really likes the underdogs 90% of the time, right? Because it's always trying to look at numbers that are overbet by the public. But I actually have Real Betis to be favored here and some value on their money line, which is actually very interesting. I have both teams to score hitting 47% of the time, the over 2.5 goals hitting 43% of the time. So I do like both teams to score. It seems like the model is looking that way, but I do see some real value just betting Real Betis' side today.
Okay,
Which
so
I thought
maybe on
was,
your
yeah, sorry, go on.
No, you're good. No, yeah, no, definitely value on Real Betis. I think, I mean, for me, it's probably a toss up 50-50. I know the books don't have it that way, but in my opinion, I think it's more of a 50-50 game than anything. And I think your model would suggest then that the BTTS is more 50-50 as well. And maybe the value for you in terms of your model would be more so on Real Betis' side. So I like it. And we'll see maybe if both can hit here. Maybe Betis can win and we can hit both teams to score.
100%. I have them projected to score basically 1.5 goals, which is kind of right on the line there. Definitely expect them to score at least one. If they score two and Valencia scores as well, wouldn't be shocked in the slightst. Model does support that play.
That would be nice if we get like half a goal, right? Like just maybe like the ball like halfway crosses the line and it's all right, half a goal. I'm just joking, guys.
What's
Sorry,
interesting here,
early Tuesday morning lame humor. Go ahead, Moshe.
I'm seeing Real Betis draw no bet at minus 130 over on DK. I think I'm actually going to go play that line. I think I like that as a hedge.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll tell it. Sure, let's do it.
I'm going to put a half a unit
let's
on
make it a
that.
play.
Not official for me because I am done with the soccer betting officially for now. But I'm definitely going to be playing that on my own. All right, what do you got for us in terms of like live plays? What's the landscape look today? We do have, right, is MLS coming back Wednesday night?
No, actually, it's not because of the Leagues Cup. So we have Leagues Cup tonight and tomorrow night. So MLS won't be back until Saturday. But looking at today's slate, we do have some Champions League qualifiers. We have our beloved Bodo Glimt is going to be hosting a team from the Netherlands, NEC. Bodo's up 3-1 in the aggregate in that one, so I definitely see goals in that one as NEC tries to climb back into that one. We've already talked about Bodo Glimt many times, especially last season when they were in the Champions League. This is a team that you always want to play the over the majority of the time, especially when they're at home. Teams hate to play up in the Nordic region on that artificial turf, and it tends to lead to goals and it tends to lead to Bodo Glimt results. So if you were looking to play this game, I would look at it over. I would look at the side of Bodo Glimt in this one. But I'm going to wait to see how it kind of plays out here live since Bodo is up 3-1 on the aggregate. We may see a bit more of a conservative approach from Bodo. Not sure, so I'll wait to see how that one plays out live. Same thing here for Celtic taking on Lask. Scottish teams in general, when playing in Europe, they really struggle on the road. So Celtic do come into this one with a 3-0 aggregate lead, but Lask at home, I think they are going to put up some goals in this one. Again, Scottish teams in general really struggle anytime that they go outside of Scotland in a road game in European competition. So that could state the form here. So that's another one I'm going to be watching really closely. Is going to be Lask and Celtic. And then other than that, we do have the EFL Cup this afternoon, which is basically a tournament for most of your lower seeded teams in the English pyramid. A lot of games in that one. Interesting matchups. I'll wait to see if anything pops up live in terms of any value for that. And other than that, that's pretty much it for today. And then we'll see what tomorrow's slate looks like tomorrow morning.
Looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to it, especially if we can get a live over in that Bodo Glint game because they are, I mean, just insane. The run that they've been on the last few years has been so much fun.
It really has been, and yeah, definitely something that I'll be keeping an eye on. Overs for that one for sure. If we don't see any goals, although like I said, the only caveat is that they're up 3-1, so you never know. But I think it's going to tend to go to 4, right? I mean, Bodo Glimt games at home are always overscoring games, no matter what the circumstances are. So we'll stay tuned to that and see what happens.
Yeah, that artificial turf very much lends itself to defensive mistakes for teams visiting that are not used to it. And Bodo Glint is not the team. Glint. Either way,
Glimt, M,
Glint.
yeah, M,
I knew I was
M.
saying it wrong.
Yeah, can't tell the
Um,
difference really. It sounds the same.
They are, and we've talked about it in Champions League last year. They are the type of team that is always going to be pressing forward. It is in their nature. It is not their nature to play defensive hostage with the football. That's not their game plan.
100%. And that's the thing with them. Even in the domestic league, if you look at their games within the Norwegian division, same thing. It's goals. It's goals. It's goals. It's goals. So to your point, they just, I think even if they wanted to bunker down, I don't think they're possible. Like, they're not capable of it. It's just not in their DNA. They're just, like you said, a very front footed attacking team. They're really one of the most entertaining teams to watch in all of Europe. And I'm so glad. I really hope they qualify for the big table. Like I said, they're up 3-1, so this is the second leg. So all they got to do is just see it out, and get through to the proper Champions League table where you get with all the big dogs: Madrid, Arsenal, Barcelona, and so on.
Hey, I'm still reeling when they beat Inter Milan last year. That was
Incredible, not and Atletico Madrid, both of
and
them
Atletico
at
Madrid. That's right.
yes, incredible at home. Yeah, that just shows what kind of home field advantage they have. You have two absolute giants of Europe who have probably double the payroll of Bodo Glimt going up there to the artificial turf in Norway and losing, absolutely losing. Shocking results, but just goes to show just what kind of home field advantage that Bodo really has. Again, super fun team to watch.
Also, way more than double their salary if I had to take a gander.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, maybe triple. Yeah, honestly. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I doubt Bodo is anywhere even close to the revenue that those two teams bring in. So yeah, 100%.
Yep. All right, let's get into baseball. It's Happy Paul Skeens Day once again as he continues to find his footing this year. The underlying metrics make me a little bit scared to back him right now, but if you did want a good look for a Paul Skeens line, I think the over 5.5 at minus 135. Over 5.5 strikeouts at minus 135 offers a ton of value. Mind you, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it on my premium channel either, but it is something that I'm looking into or interested in. Might get there, and if I do, I'll post it either on Twitter or on Substack, wherever I feel comfortable posting it. But other top pitchers going off today, we have Jacob deGrom, Gavin Williams, Peyton Tolle, and Kyle Harrison. The only one here that I'm worried about is Kyle Harrison on the road. Other than that, I think this is going to be a phenomenal full slate to get into. We're not talking about football yet, but also just a reminder, college football starting this Saturday or Thursday night or Saturday. And then we have NFL just two weeks after that. So lots of things to look forward to. I'm going to go with an early cash here. Rangers, White Sox, no run first inning at minus 130. I got this last night at FanDuel. Jacob deGrom finally finding his stride. He has a near 35% strikeout rate over his last 4 starts. He has a 433 FIP to a 222 xFIP over the last month in the first inning, which spells positive regression. The White Sox in the last month ranked 23rd in offensive production in the first. I just really like the White Sox to struggle early in this one, and Jacob deGrom to continue pitching well. On the other side of this equation is Anthony Kay. His numbers in the first inning are incredible. He has a 183 FIP to a 259 xFIP through his last 4 starts. Rangers rank 26th in offensive production in the first inning, also over the last month. I just tend to think that we don't see two games in a row where there's a score in the first inning. We did see yes run first inning cash yesterday. I just don't think it happens 2 days in a row against 2 teams at the bottom of the table in offensive production in the first inning and 2 pitchers who have a sub 3 xFIP also going off in the first inning. So I love this play. I don't think the minus 130 juice was fair enough. I would take this all the way through minus 140, minus 150. So, Prince, any thoughts on this play or any other questions on the slate? I do tend to have a few plays today, including a few first inning money lines.
No, nothing for me, of course. I defer to you on baseball. But just to answer your question about college football, it starts Thursday. Thursday night, we have some games. In the FCS, we have some games, which actually, I have a play already, one play for the FCS. We'll get into it in a little bit. Not an official play, but I'll give it out here once you're done with baseball. But no thoughts for me. I defer to you on that.
Yep, sounds good. Just going to give out some other leans as we wait for Drew to hopefully give us his baseball play of the day. I am, like I mentioned, taking the Cubs team total. I found this over 3.5 at minus 154, which I thought was just stupid price. I don't mind taking the over 4.5 at plus 115 either, if you want to put either a half or full unit. Honestly, this Cubs team is insane. The Arizona Fat is pitching today. He has done well, and I expect him to be able to tamper down. But like we saw yesterday, who was pitching? I forget off the top of my head, but the Arizona's starting pitcher actually did fairly well, pitched himself out of trouble a number of times, and it was only, I believe, 2-0 in the sixth inning. They took him out, and the bullpen immediately gave up 6 more runs or 5 more runs. It was just ridiculous. It was back-to-back home runs, and I was like, whoo, cash that sweat free. The other plays that I'm looking at today also, I like the Rays team total over 3.5 as well, similarly priced to the Cubs team total, minus 154. And then I like the Rays and the Orioles first inning money line, both over on Caesars. Rays minus 140, Orioles minus 105. And then if you want to follow my premium picks, I have 2 more money lines and 3 more no-run first innings. All right, Prince, what do you want to talk about next?
Give me one sec, Mosh.
No problem. All right. Gonna start giving out some more plays. No run first innings. I like the Guardians Angels. I think that's a really sharp look. Also, if you're looking at that game, I love the under 7.5. If you can still find it at around minus 115, minus 120. I took it last night at minus 115. Reds, Giants, another good no-run first inning candidate, and then the Red Sox, Marlins as well. I think that these are all excellent looks. Generally, I've been struggling to figure out bullpen games, which I believe that the Marlins are going with today, but I have tended to see that the bullpen starting pitcher tends to do really well in the first inning. I don't know if they're coached, they're specialized in terms of trying to face, they do a lot of research on over the first 4 batters that they're possibly going to face. But anytime I see a bullpen game, I am starting to lean towards the no-run first inning as opposed to starting pitchers who have to do it day in, day out. Hey, Drew, how you doing, buddy? Just in time. What do you got for us in the baseball world today?
Oh, just give me 1 second, guys.
No problem. I guess I'm giving out all my premium picks today. Let's go with the Red Sox money line, minus 153. I do like them on the run line. Just wanted to be a little bit safer here. The Red Sox are just one of those teams that are on fire, just like the Cubs. And another team that I like, Guardians money line, minus 135. I don't mind parlaying either the Red Sox and Guardians with their team total over 2.5 if you want to get that juice down, but I just find it safer just to go with a straight bet. Don't worry about all the little different things. Let's just cash the money line plays, which both of these teams should be able to get in spades. I like both of their bullpens over their opponents, and I think that they have the starting pitcher advantage as well, which is why we're getting these juice lines. But I think that the juice lines are worth the price of admission. So just to recap, all of my plays today, we are going with Rangers, White Sox, no run first inning, Cubs team total over 3.5, Rays team total over 3.5, Rays first inning money line minus 140, Orioles first inning money line minus 105. Then the no run first inning in the Guardians Angels game, Reds Giants and Red Sox Marlins. And then finally, Red Sox money line and Guardians money line. Hopefully, you guys are all following. Little bit of a preview of what I am able to do with my premium channel. Drew, are you back?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
Sorry
Give us your
about that.
pick, baby. What do we got?
Yeah. You may not like the pick, but I'm doing Will Warren under 15.5 outs at -125. It's nothing necessarily against the Yankees specifically, but the Yankees have had a day off. Their bullpen is fresh. I know the bullpen has not been great, and that's one of their weaknesses, but Will Warren has not really been someone who has worked into games as of recently, like we used to, a little bit end of last year and the end of season. He's been struggling overall with command, and his whiff rate hasn't been as high as you would like it to be. Because if you just look at it, his last few games, he's had five. He's hovered around like five strikeouts or so. We used him last year being a little higher, but his last two games, he's only lasted 4 innings each game. And then I notice Boone is having a little bit of a leash on him, like only 90 pitches and 81 pitches last two games. His last game against Baltimore, 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, only 90 pitches. And the game before that against Seattle, 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. And then he covered it a couple times against St. Louis and Chicago, but then against Philadelphia, only three. He's facing an Astros team. Astros team does make a lot of contact. They don't strike out as much. They are more swing happy. But this team has had a success against Will Warren. I believe he's had two starts against the Astros. The Astros hit around a little over 400 of them. The Astros are gaining ground on the Rangers, and I think they're a desperate team. And I don't expect Boone having him go too far, especially with the full day of rest, and regardless of the bullpen being a little shaky this year.
Well, I have to push back on one aspect of that, and that's the Yankees bullpen has actually been incredible, which actually lends me to think that they will pull him in order to input their bullpen before he gets himself into trouble. I also really don't mind this play. Unfortunately, Will Warren, over his last 3 games, only gone 13.1 innings. He has a FIP of 684, which is almost unheard of, and then a 452 FIP. This is not numbers that you want to back. I do like the Astros team total over 3.5 -130. I think Matty Ice gave that play out on Twitter earlier today. And that goes kind of hand in hand with fading Will Warren's outs. Gotta say, it's a
Well, what
rough
I
one
was
for me
saying,
to admit, but I like that play.
well, I'll say about the bullpen. One of the main reasons I was mentioning it, I know the last few games or so, they've given up some runs. I know like De Los Santos gave a run, another forgot reliever gave up one. I know they've done better since they got rid of like certain people like Camilo Duvall and stuff. But they haven't been doing as, of course, they expected, if that makes sense. Because I know giving up one run for a reliever can hurt them. So yeah.
Yeah, I will say the Yankees bullpen in my rankings ranked top 5 most of the year, and they're only hanging out at 6th right now. They have an xFIP of 375, which is excellent for a bullpen. I see a lot of good things uh, overall in their abilities. They have a pretty high strikeout rate. They're not leaving. They're leaving runners on base, so they're working themselves out of trouble. I do like the Yankees bullpen overall, and I'm the first person to complain about them in general.
Oh yeah, I completely understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all relative. It really is.
Yeah,
And again, I'm
definitely.
looking
Yeah,
at
I shouldn't have said this year. I meant like recently. I've noticed a little bit of dip because I know they were doing pretty well, but I shouldn't have said this year overall because they've been doing well. It's just as of recently, they've given up more runs than you would expect. That could be also due to the fact some of their games. There's kind of a series coming from Yankee Stadium. And it was a very tough series against the Blue Jays, and I think the Blue Jays had their most success against the bullpen, so it's kind of an outlier.
Yeah, and also those interdivision games are always tricky. When you see an opponent so many times, you start to learn their traits, you start to learn their character traits. And honestly, even if even last year, if you had a matchup between the Tigers and White Sox, who the White Sox were the worst, top 2 or bottom 2 worst teams in baseball, those games are competitive. They know each other and they're able to get one up. They're not like a normal matchup where you only face them once or twice a year. These are teams that you face every single year, multiple times, multiple series, and they matter, which means I think that they put a lot more focus in terms of understanding the matchups and understanding who they're facing up against. Because at the end of the day, you really only have to beat one person or one team to get into the playoffs within your own division. Makes it extremely more important to understand who they are.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say my last part is I've got to mention, yeah, they're quick recap mine. Ranger got under 17 and a half outs. And my other play I would have done was Sandy, and Sandy even did that too. So, back in the winning column with Ranger under 17 and a half outs. And we'll see. And I'm not saying that, of course, the Yankees will. I think the Yankees might lose, but we've seen it with Will Warren recently. Like, it's not that he's been absolutely like terrible and stuff, but he hasn't really been a workhorse like we saw towards the end of year last year. And we've seen Boone does have a leash on him. He usually doesn't have leashes on like Fried, Rodon, and Garrett Cole.
Yep, 100%. And yeah, he hasn't gone. He's averaged 4.5 innings in his last 3 starts over the last month. Very much on board. Unfortunately, I wish I wasn't. All right. Any talk on college football coming up Thursday night? Drew, any thoughts?
Yeah, I've been joining a lot of college football like spaces and talking with my friends, and I'm just getting more excited for it. We do have, of course, this Saturday. Actually, we do have a bunch of non Power Five, not just non Power Five, like deep in the the woodworks teams on Thursday and Friday, as I call it, and then we also have a little more Power Five on Saturday. I know a lot of people are liking on Saturday San Jose State plus 30 and a half versus USC because they think San Jose State is not a team that's that bad, but I am wary of doing that. I did mention, like, if you have a boost for DK, a really good arbitrage possibility in that way, where it's like plus, if you put plus 35 at plus 100, and then Hard Rock had like minus 105. So if you do the plus 150 with the boost, and have minus 105 on the other side for that. But there's going to be some good games. UNC is going to be a good game. Almost, I'm blanking on who UNC is. TCU. They're playing TCU. That's going to be fun to watch. Hawaii, Stanford is always interesting to watch. So we're not have big dogs, but if you guys have any questions about any certain games this week, let me know, because technically we do have very low ranking teams playing on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. Prince, I know that you had some thoughts in the college football world. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so one point in particular that I'm looking at, this is more of an auto fade on a particular school that those of you who have been listening to us since the beginning, we talked about this school back during college basketball, and I tried to pick Drew's brain on it and see if I could get any insight from him on why this team is historically bad year in and year out. But I looked at fade Mississippi Valley State every chance I get, whether it's football or basketball. They're playing Nicholls State this Thursday. Nicholls State is a 30.5 point favorite. I'm going to lay the 30.5 with Nicholls. Again, it's just more of an auto fade of Mississippi Valley State than anything else. They've just been absolutely horrible, non-competitive, year in and year out. Doesn't matter the sport, particularly in men's basketball and football. So, curious what your thoughts are, Drew. I know you probably don't have much insight on FCS football. Maybe you do, but because I believe is that FCS? I believe that's FCS. Is it not? Mississippi
Yes.
Valley. Yeah. Yeah, for the football, they're FCS. So, any thoughts on that, one way or the other?
Yes, I actually do, and I actually did research on that game when you mentioned it. Believe it or not, like, I mean, Nicholls State isn't an absolute like terrible team considered in their division, but and I don't think MVSU should have a football team. Their football team is personally, I think they're better than their basketball team, which doesn't say much. But the last time these two teams played, I believe it was in 2024, and Nicholls State won 66-0. So based off just that knowledge alone, of course, I did a deep dive research on who they have on their team and stuff, because at the end of the day, these are like lower tier FCS schools. No disrespect to them, but that, I think that's the biggest telling right there. I mean, 66-0, even though it was 2 years ago, these people don't really get much transfers, so the teams relatively stayed the same. They probably just got recruits or people that just go to the school. So I don't see much change from that. They won that by that much last 2 years ago. They can easily destroy that spread as well.
Yeah, I that's kind of the way I'm leaning as well. I mean, like I said, they just have a hard time covering spreads in general. And while we're on the topic of it, I know we talked about it. Like I said, it was several months ago, but I'll bring it back up again because I do think it's a fascinating topic in college sports in general. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here because I know we probably have some more bets. So if you could briefly, within a couple minutes, give a summarization as to why Mississippi Valley State in specific really struggle year in year out in the world of NIL, which I know they don't have as much money as other schools, so probably NIL doesn't have as much of an impact on them. But where you see schools like, for example, you see schools like Indiana come out of nowhere and win a national championship after being arguably the worst team in college football over the last several years. Right? You see other teams able to turn it around in a year or two, and you look at Mississippi Valley State, and it's just the same thing year in and year out. They are just at the bottom of the barrel in both college football and in college basketball. Is it just an issue of recruiting? I mean, can they seriously not get any type of, like, I don't know, 3-star talent at minimum? Can they just not recruit any type of caliber players at all? Like, what's systematically wrong? And I know I'm throwing a lot at you. If you don't have a
Oh no,
real
I do.
insight, that's okay. But I figured you would, because you're pretty knowledgeable about college sports, way more than me. So what's your take on the struggles of Mississippi Valley State in particular? Because I just feel like of all the schools, they are perennial, and I hate to say it, losers in terms of their record. Um, and they just cannot bounce back for under no circumstances. Well, what's the contributing factor to that?
Yeah, so there's multiple reasons. One of the biggest reasons, of course, is they are one of the smallest HBCUs. If you don't know what that means, historically Black College University. There's a lot of other HBCUs that, like we've seen in the past, have been great because it used to be in the NFL where people would draft from HBCUs in general. I believe technically Marshall, in a way, is one of them. And one of those, and there's other ones too. I may be wrong about Marshall, but there's a lot of other historical ones, and also not just that, they have one of the smallest budgets, and if not the smallest out of the Division 1 schools. They get very limited funds. They have a terrible geographical location in Mississippi where they're at, and in the conference they're at, their travel is terrible too, based off of where they are too. So nobody really wants to go there to play any kind of sports in general. So if you have a mixture of geographic, like isolation, limited funds, being a smaller school, and travel, it's a recipe for disaster that I don't think will ever be fixed, especially in the NL era, because they don't have enough donors to even compete with the smaller FCS schools.
So why not go to Division 2?
They would take a big dip if they go to Division 2. That would hurt them, I think, a lot more because they go to Division 2. In that way, they also have to go through a whole process. I believe I need to look at the legal ramifications to go to Division 2. So I know you can go to Division 2 to 1. But if you go to Division 2 to 1, I think it's like a few years you have to wait to be able to compete in some kind of bowl game or something like that. But I think if you go back down to Division 2, there's some legal ramifications I have to probably double check on.
Okay, I would just think, if you're struggling so much, talk about decades, right? At least a decade, maybe more. At some point, you would consider stepping down a division, and maybe be more competitive. I don't know. I mean, last year in basketball, the only team they beat, one of the few teams, I think, had one win on the season, maybe two, but I know one of the teams they beat was the women's Bible studies college, and it was a men's team. I mean, those are the type of teams that they're playing, that they're getting wins against. So, yeah, just I mean, look, shout out to anyone from MVSU, of course, a historic college, HBCU. But you even look at the other HBCUs, like at some point they bounce back. Like they're just, all of them, Prairie State or Grambling, you name your pick, right? They'll have up and down seasons, but it's just like MVSU, just
So
over and over and over. They're always at the bottom.
one more quick thing before, 'cause I know Stern raised his hand, is something I just thought about and didn't realize is that one of the main reasons, of course, they want to stay in Division 1 is because they get paid a lot of money to get their butt whooped by certain teams. And that's why you want to stay in Division 1. And I think if they go to Division 2, they won't be able to get those scheduled games because it won't be as valuable, and then they lose a lot of money. So they're in a tough spot.
Yeah, I figured financially there's some incentive from the same Division 1. Sorry, sir, I know you had a hand up for a while. What any thoughts on this as well?
Well, actually, Drew just took the words out of my mouth, and I think it's there's three components that I can see off the top of my head of why a team wouldn't step down. One is those $1 million guarantee games to get their butt whooped. The media, whether or not they're going to be competitive or not, is going to be watching the games. And like again, teams like Alabama and other teams, they need essentially preseason games during their season in order to kind of ramp their team up. And they give like $1 million plus to play some of these smaller market teams. And that's just a huge, huge, huge financial boost for those types of programs that may not be as widely recognized as some of the other top seeded programs. The other one is brand visibility here. All right. If you're a Division I college, you have access to a certain level of prestige that you can now leverage to bring better people in. It's hard for me to see a Division II team or a Division II college really being able to attract the same level of talent. Now, sure, the people at the bottom of Division I aren't going to be able to compete with the people at the top of Division I, but they're still able to compete in an over in a larger sense of the word. And it also, I believe, it affects what sports they can offer, like certain Olympic sports, things like that. And if they drop it, they might lose some of that access to some of the other sports that they're offering as well. And there's really no penalty for doing bad in Division I. So if you're not going to get punished, right, there's no relegation. Why wouldn't you just keep making as much money and bringing in as many people as you possibly can?
So, just 2 points of contention. One, if you have access to better players, but you're not getting those better players, then what's really the point, right? We're talking again. We're not talking about a team that goes up and down. We're talking about a team that is consistently down year in year out. So obviously, they're not able to get the talent. I know some of Drew's points as to why they're not doing that, but I don't see the benefit of having access to getting better players if you're not able to. And then the other thing, if they're getting all this money from these games that, of course, that they're getting their butt whooped in, what are they doing with that money? Well, why is that money not being invested into getting better talent on this team, especially in the world of NIL? I just find it fascinating in college sports with how much parity there is now that this particular college, and again, I hate to pick on them, but they are far and away the worst Division I team in both football and basketball, and it's not even close. And it's year in and year out; it never changes.
So yeah, again, I think that the main point is the money, like Drew said. If you are in a certain division, especially Division I and in certain conferences, even if you're the worst team, you have revenue share for media rights. If you're in Division II, that basically doesn't exist.
So I can speak on like because I know what you're saying like what's the point of having kind of a team? The point like I know this will sound terrible, but the point of having it is you need like even though you're this bad of a team, you need like a strong like student body in regards to that, and their athletes make up a good portion of that. And if you get rid of their just like team completely in general, it will not just destroy their funding as well, but it also destroys tradition because like HBCU has culture and tradition that they want to keep. And you need to think about it. This is a school that produced Jerry Rice. So this is one of those things where they need to preserve tradition, and then if they get rid of the team in general, they'll lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they're basically keeping a team to preserve money for the school, but also voluntarily being one of the worst teams. So it's kind of a sacrifice they have to take and a double edged sword.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just an interesting story. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully, they have a bounce back season at some point, but not this week. Give me Nickel State minus 30.5.
Yeah, as long as the NIL is in effect, it's not going to be good for them.
Yeah,
They're
unfortunately,
going to
that's what
have
it
to
looks like.
figure that out at some point. They're going to have to figure out the NIL stuff because it is just a free for all Wild West right now. We've talked about it a number of times, and there's no way that they're going to allow the concentration of top talent in just a handful of small schools. Not big small schools, but a handful of schools.
I think the number one thing they need to fix, I know we're on this for like, I know we can go on this for a while, is not necessarily the NIL, but the transfer portal. I think they limit the transfer portal and they have these people who stay played, but they make it so they can only stay, so they can say have to stay a certain amount of years with the team that recruit them. I think that will be, that will help because I think the transfer portal is the biggest issue.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's a little bit of a mess right now, but it'll be interesting to see how this evolves in the future. And honestly, trying to kind of democratize the process to a point where it becomes a little bit more fair, I think is something valuable and something that will draw more fans to the sport in general. All right. Anything else on the sports slate today, Prince, that you want to get to?
No, nothing else for me.
Drew, anything for you? And then I'm going to go back to Prince
Yeah.
for a question of the day if he has one.
Yeah, so I have a couple like I'll say real quickly, like we don't have to go over it too much, but there's some college football leans that I'm not making official plays yet, but I am liking the San Jose State like USC over. I think it's like 59.5 or 16.5. And then another one that I was looking at, it was Jacksonville State versus North Dakota State. I like Jacksonville State as of right now plus 7.5. So I'll let you know more, but those are some leans that I'm looking at.
Absolutely love it. Looking to work on my model as well this week. It's been exhausting trying to fix my model from a little bit of a bug that I found in it just last Friday. Woo! Not a lot of sleep for this guy. All right, Prince, any question of the day before I choose one from my list?
No, go ahead and choose one from your list. Clean up board, Moach.
Drew, before I get to a random question, any question of the day?
I don't have one as of right now, but I'll try to think of one for tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. All right, what is your favorite uniform? All of professional sports, home, away, specialty, now, in the past, anywhere. What is your favorite jersey or uniform in the world of sports? Prince, going to you first.
All right, can I pick two of them?
Of course, man.
Can I pick? I'll pick a retro one and a current one. All right,
Sure.
so because I like them both equally. All right, so for the retro one, has to be NBA Toronto Raptors. I absolutely love the color scheme of that. I love the Raptor on the front. I think it's one of the coolest jerseys ever made. Huge fan of the old school Raptors jersey. And then in terms of current jerseys, gotta go with the Raiders. No, that black and silver, right? I've always been attracted to that. I just think it's one of the like coolest, like toughest, most intimidating jerseys out there. Simple, but it gets the job done. I'm a huge fan of the Raiders jersey. So those would be my two: Raptors old school jersey with the Raptor on the front, and then the Raiders current jersey.
I like that. I like that a lot. Drew, where are you going for this one?
Yeah, so besides like I'm gonna buy stuff, but besides my team, I of course I love my red and gold with like the Niners and stuff, but I'll just say just put away like my team in general with the Giants and stuff. They have like good jerseys. I would say my favorite, I would say my favorite actually both my favorite jerseys are probably football jerseys, but my favorite overall past jersey is, and maybe because I loved watching LT, but the baby blue Charger jerseys. I think they're some of the coolest jerseys that I've seen. I loved them, especially watching them in the 2000s. Wear them with like LT, Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, and Sean Merriman, and all that. And then the favorite current jersey, I would say, it's kind of tough because I actually am a fan of I am a fan of the Eagles. I think the Eagles just have a really good overall like classic jersey. But if I had to pick one, just overall, it would probably be the Raiders, like the black and silver. Even though I am a Niners fan, I think the black and silver just looks really cool with like the silver helmet.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I can't believe that we have a part of the same answer. So for me, Yankees. Yankees uniform is just the most iconic. My favorite. I see a Yankees uniform, especially during a game, and it instantly calms me. I want to watch the game. Like that is my childhood for the most part. So Yankees is definitely my favorite. When I'm going to like other sports or other kind of uniforms that I'm looking at here, the San Diego Chargers from the mid 2000s, those bright blue uniforms was the first one that came to mind for me. Honestly, it really did. I couldn't believe that came out of your mouth. And then while we're on it, I might as well just go to my favorite one in each sport, and that's the Chicago Bulls of the 90s. Watching Michael Jordan and that uniform was amazing. I loved it. It really is a cool uniform. I love the lettering, the white outline of the black on top of the red. I thought it looked really fantastic. So I guess you got one for every sport, or at least most sports.
And two more. I gotta give honorable mentions, right? So two more that I like. And Drew, you'll like one of these, and you'll probably hate the other one. I really like the Jayhawks jersey. I love that dark blue. One of the sharpest college basketball jerseys of all time. I'm a huge fan of that blue with the little Jayhawk on it. This is solid, absolutely solid jersey. But the other one too. Gotta love that baby blue North Carolina Tar Heels, man. I love that jersey as well. I know Kansas is kind of rivals with the Tar Heels a little bit, but I love that jersey. I've always been a huge fan of that baby blue North Carolina. So those are two
Oh,
more I like a lot.
Oh, I
actually,
very
then
much agree to that.
yeah. Actually, then I'll give a couple more. And I have nothing against necessarily the Tar Heels. I just didn't like Roy Williams when he
This was a
said he
great
wouldn't
question, by
move.
the way. Sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. This was a great
Oh,
question, by the way.
oh, yeah.
This is a fun one. I really like this one.
I love it too, and I'll give my honorable mentions real quick. For basketball, like when I think of like just past, of course I love it when the Warriors just have the Thunder mascot. That was awesome. But for basketball, if I have to give one, I kind of agree with Prince with those Raptors unis with like Vince Carter and McGrady and stuff. That was amazing. And then for baseball, I would definitely say Yankees or Red Sox. Yankees or Red Sox have some of the most class uniforms. I am not, even though I think these uniforms look nice, I'm not going to say Dodgers, not going to give them credit. I am a Giants fan. Anyways, when it comes to another football jersey, honorable mention, I didn't necessarily fully get to watch them, but I've seen them wear their past jerseys. Kelly Green Eagles jerseys, when like Reggie White used to wear them and stuff. I just think those Kelly Green jerseys are beautiful.
Yeah, I tend to agree. All right, Brad, you requested to speak. I'm assuming that you have a favorite uniform. What do you got for us?
Yes, and when you're talking to a soccer guy, you always know that we got our uniforms in check. We love very specific kits. They change every year, so you kind of get a lot of kits for a lot of different teams. But if we're thinking classic type of scenarios, I'm going to give one international. I absolutely love the Brazil yellow. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful color, and the classic Ronaldinho, the Kakas of the world, the Adriano, the Ronaldos, the absolute studs who I grew up with. That Brazil yellow always sticks with me. And then if we're going with football, club football, that Barcelona kit, there's something about it. Maybe it's the Messi growing up with it, but it's such a beautifully designed kit. It goes together so well. It fits with the shorts to the socks, and with the way the stadium is, it just fits with the fans. So I'm going Barcelona on that. And then I have to do this because we're US based. Got to talk about the MLS. I love a few kits. They're not that special in my opinion, but there's just a few that kind of stand out. For some reason, I've always loved that New York Red Bulls kit. It's such a weird uh, kit, to be quite honest, and the Bulls right there in the middle. But for some reason, it really sticks with me. So I'm going to go with that. And then outside of my sport, I'm going to go to the NBA, not talked about, but the Penny Hardaway, young Brad loving kid. Love those original Magic, the blue, black, silver. I mean, it's just so beautiful. And when I was a kid, that was the kit that I liked. And then NFL, last but not least, it kind of hasn't been mentioned, and I'm going to go back to my childhood again with the Randy Moss. I really do love that purple Minnesota Vikings.
I've got to
So
say,
now I gotta
oh,
now.
sorry, go on.
Oh, so go ahead. Go ahead, Stern. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we grew up with some great uniforms, and I'm a little bit sad that they went away from them. They tried to modernize their looks, but I think that every generation can say that because when I look at the 1960s, 70s, and 80s uniforms in the MLB, which is primarily the sport that I was watching growing up, I mean, you had the Brewers. That uniform was really, really cool. The baby blue one over there. There's so many great ones, and it's sad to see that they don't kind of recycle them to some degree. I think they have started to, but spot on answers. I love them. I love that a lot. Oh, also, Man City, like that uniform as well.
You know what? I'm gonna be biased here, guys. Like I have to. I know I said I wouldn't, but I would say I didn't get to watch this time. But the Niners, I know they somewhat wear a rendition of it. And I still love when the Niners wear those white unis. Those are like those white retro ones. But the 1980 Niner jerseys, where they had the red tops and they had the full on gold bottoms with the white stripe and the two red stripes next to it. That's just very aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah,
and
100%.
it
And
helps when you have Joe Montana.
yeah, yeah, right. That helps a lot, right? Yeah, anytime you have some of these legends in sports, it's gonna up the nostalgia of the jersey itself. But Yeah, to your point, Moch. Jerseys today, man, they're so like basic now, right? Like there was so much more creativity. I feel like back in the retro jersey as opposed to now. Like everyone trying to copy each other, and it's just basic. And I don't know. There's reasons for that. I won't get into it. My personal opinions as to why that is. But yeah, the creativity is just gone. It seems like nowadays. But I feel like I have to give a couple of soccer jersey picks as well. Since I mean that is my main sport. So one is a little bit obscure. All right. But I'm looking at the Udinese, which is a team in the Italian Serie A. Their third kit from 23-24 season. You guys can Google it. For some reason, this jersey just stands out to me. It's black with like white spots on it. It has gold lettering. It is just a super sharp jersey. I feel like it's something you could wear anywhere, like not even just to a game. You could just literally wear it casually. You can wear it with a pair of jeans. It really stands out to me. It's something you guys got to Google to see it. And then for the MLS, I've always been a huge fan of the LAFC jersey, the black with the gold. It's just something that stands out. It looks intimidating. It looks pretty fierce. And it's simple. It's subtle, but it gets the job done. So LAFC always been a huge fan of their jerseys. And the Udinese, Google it, Udinese 23-24, third kit for the Serie A. Those are two jerseys that just come to mind. I'm sure there's other ones that we could go on and on. I'm sure I'd find about 10 more jerseys, but those are two that come to mind.
Yeah, that black and yellow or black and gold really is a stark look. Looking at the Steelers, also great uniform. All right. We are on the hour. Going to go around the horn, see if anybody has any last minute thoughts in the world of sports or other for today. Brad, I'm going to go to you. No pressure. Any final thoughts on this conversation or the world of sports in general?
Well, we got football today, and it's a lot of weird football. You've got Czech Cup and the Danish Cups and the Croatian Cups. You name it, it's Cup. Which with a lot of those is lower league sides in these second and third divisions playing second and third, sometimes first division teams. What you tend to see in these cups, if you're looking at anything, is a total goal, not both teams to score. It's a total amount of goals. Typically, you get a lot more than you would get less, but you're going to get awful lines in these cups, especially if there is a talent differentiation upwards of 3.5 to 4. And those lines are a bit high that you would want to take pre-match. So if you're looking at any of those, just be very careful. I'm keeping my units low, especially in this midweek. I like to increase my units on the weekend when there's more reliable footy. You have the Champions League. And with those, they're all about scenarios. Who scores, what that goal outcome changes the game. Each match has an aggregate score line that changes what's happening. You should see Bodo score multiple goals, but we don't really know NEC Nijmegen, whichever way you want to call them. They played well, just couldn't finish in the first round at home. And now Bodo goes to the Arctic Tundra. They should put up a lot, but it's again a 3.5, and that is just too high. You have the League's Cup tonight, and that scenario is you're going to see a lot of these teams play very slowly. Monterey and the Fire specifically, they'll probably just try to minimize the risk. So if you're looking at a lot of these matches, they're just very, very difficult. I personally am steering clear of a lot of them, looking more to the live market. But one match I have my specific eye on, and it's a narrative play within the EFL, the England EFL Trophy. It is a tournament that a lot of the lower league sides compete in alongside the U21 teams of all these various top clubs, like your Chelsea, your Man City, and all those Premier League sides will have a team in it. And within those U21 teams, over the last 2 seasons, the over 2.5 goals is hitting upwards of 80+%. And that is specifically with those U21 teams. You tend to see a lot of goals in this match. They always play away from home, puts them at a little bit of a disadvantage. But what they do is they play system ball. They try to score and impress their manager. It's not necessarily a I try to win 1-0 type of situation. You have Bristol Rovers taking on Chelsea's U21. I'm on the over 3 at -125. So that's a look, and I'll be looking and continuing to tail those U21 teams throughout the life of that tournament.
Oh, thank you, Brad. That is awesome analysis. Definitely going to be sprinkling a little bit more on that Bristol Rovers Chelsea game, right? That's the game that you mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah. fantastic looks. I appreciate it, man.
Just real quick, just to bounce back off that, I'm 100% locked up with him. I actually gave that play out in the VIP channel earlier this morning, the exact same play. So I am completely in lockstep with Brad for every reason that he said, and I posted that also in the VIP channel as well for the community members there to keep an eye out on these U21 teams over 2.5. Like you said, 80% of the time they are just hitting on a regular basis. So there's a specific league called the England Premier 2, which features all the U21 teams. And those games, we bet on all 5 of those games. They were heavily juiced, but we bet on all 5 over 2.5. Every single one of them hit. So to his point, over 2.5 with the U21 to youth teams. Everything he said, I just mimic all of that, and I'm with him on that. Absolutely with him on the play for today.
Yeah, and shout out to the Northeast, at least in Pennsylvania. You can find those matchups on Bet365. I couldn't find them on any of the other major books. All right, Prince, any last thoughts in the world of sports today?
Nope, nothing else for me, guys. Like I said, live betting opportunity, so we'll keep an eye on that. If I see anything, I'll try to post it in the VIP and or on X at Prince of Pix 10.
Looking forward. All right, Drew, any last thoughts? And if you don't, please recap us with your best bet of the day.
Yeah, I did Will Warren under 15.5 outs at -125.
I've got the Rangers, White Sox, no run first inning, -130. And then I did give out all of my premium plays today. So go check out earlier in the show for all of that information. Prince, close us out, brother.
All right, guys, looking at a 2-0 week here, so we can continue the good vibes here. I'm looking at Real Betis and Valencia, both teams to score at -130. And then in the Leagues Cup tonight, I am going to be on Chicago, Monterrey, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. That comes in as well at -130. That's going to do it, guys. This has been the Tuesday edition of the Only Bet Sports Podcast with Stern Investor. Looking at the Prince Big shout out to Brad for his great football analysis and best bets. We'll be back again live tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. You can catch us Monday through Friday at Only Bets Podcast over on Twitter/X. Have a great afternoon. Let's catch out these tickets, and we will talk to you all soon. Thanks.